Hi guys, spoil your ballot. That was the advice Wes Streeting had to Labour voters at the upcoming by-election, where the candidate who's running for Labour appeared to have been backing a conspiracy theory surrounding the Hamas attack on Israel on the 7th of October last year. So Azhar Ali will be the Labour candidate by default, as it's too late for his name to be removed. Which means that if he does win the seat, he'll sit in Parliament as an independent. So senior people in Labour are telling their supporters to make their ballot invalid. Is this the right approach? Have a listen.
But which way should Labour voters vote on the 29th of February in the Rochdale by-election?
I'm just glad I don't have to make that choice, and I just want to say I'm really sorry to voters in Rochdale.
Well, what should they do? Stay at home?
Look, I don't think I would be casting a ballot. I'd probably go along and spoil my ballot if I lived in Rochdale, and I'm really sorry we put people in that position. I think Kay rightly took the decision that even though nominations are closed and we couldn't remove Azhar Ali from the ballot paper, what he said was so unacceptable that we just said we can't give him our backing. And all I can say to the people of Rochdale is I'm sorry, and Labour's going to give you a better candidate and a better choice at the general election.
So still go, but spoil your ballot paper?
I think that would be one option, but voters can make their own minds up. There are a range of candidates, but I think looking at the range of candidates, they're not being spoilt with choice. And I think Rochdale deserves better, especially when you look at the MP that they just lost, one of the best MPs in Parliament, the late, great Tony Lloyd. And I feel really quite sorry and ashamed that Rochdale voters have been left in this position. And we make no apology for being robust and saying that Azhar Ali might be on the ballot paper, but he's not a candidate that we're supporting or endorsing.
So don't vote for him. OK, it's good to see you, Wes Streeting.
OK, so it's an interesting response. Spoil your ballot, like draw your name, write your name on it, or draw a picture on it or something to render the ballot invalid. Why he said this was interesting, because if you look at some of the other candidates, it's likely that Labour will win. People will not really have been following this. Many people who will vote Labour always, so they'll see Labour. They won't know much about what happened, so they'll vote. Well, I always vote Labour, so I'll vote Labour, and it's likely that they will win the seat. But of course, as was pointed out, the candidate will automatically become an independent when he sits in Parliament. And we're talking about for a few months, so it's not going to be for the next number of years. It's just until the next general election, because there's a change in boundaries. But it's interesting that he didn't say to vote for another candidate like the Liberal Democrats or the Workers' Party. If you look at who's running for the Workers' Party, is George Galloway. So it would be quite embarrassing, I think, for the Labour Party if they lost the seat to George Galloway. Now, is there a chance that Galloway will win it? I don't think so. I think this is a strong Labour seat. We saw before the late Tony Lloyd, when he held it, he won a majority of 9,000 in 2019. So it's likely to go to Labour by default. Reform UK don't really have a chance. The Liberal Democrats don't have a chance, and the Tories don't really have a chance because of the situation with the Tories. So somewhat of a challenge could be George Galloway. So it would be embarrassing for Labour to lose it to George Galloway, and this is why I think Wes Streeting is saying spoil your ballot. Because it's different to turn up and vote for another candidate, because if people turn up and vote for another candidate, they'll say, well, George Galloway, I've heard of him, and he's representing the Workers' Party, so maybe it'd be a good idea to vote for him. This would be embarrassing, as I said, for Labour. So it would be better for people not, in a sense, to spoil their ballot. You can't really convince people to stay at home. That's not good for democracy. But excuse me, it's more and more likely that you would prefer them just to spoil the ballot instead of voting for another candidate. And as I said, when it comes to tactical voting, normally it will be vote for the Liberal Democrat, but this is not really the case in this seat. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.